right, so I got a couple things. This is a 1980s Topps football rack pack. Got 48 cards. Chuck Muncie, Tony Galbraith, Cornell Webster. On the back, you got Tom DeLeon. Probably Ray Werstein, I think that's, yeah, I see, like, you can see the 49ers, Chargers. John Bunting, should have been probably maybe a baseball player. And this one, like Phil Simms, would be the big one, rookie. This is 1982. I'm going to show you a little bit of difference, besides just the design. So Greg Bigham, Jack Lambert, you got Joe Sensor, Mark something. He's like probably defensive lineman or offensive lineman. Pat Hayden. And then we got Ken Burrow. So it's got some really good players in that one. So now we're just going to do the 1980s. And I'm just trying to keep up on a lot of stuff. There's Christmas happening pretty soon. So there's Chuck Muncie there. There's Charlie Joyner, Greg Bingham, Jimmy Robinson, Tim Wilson, Willie Parker, Joe Theismann, Randy Gradishar, Charlie Young, Joe Fields, Rob Carpenter. There's Gary Danielson, ESPN college analyst, Ron Saul. And then there's NFL receiving leaders, Joe Washington and Ahmad Rashad, Ken Clark, Jeff West, and there's John Bunting. Yeah, let's see. And there's Max, kind of getting anxious about something. Maybe wants to go outside. Tony Galbraith, Preston Denard, Gary Davis, Tommy Kramer, Cleo Miller, Wilbert Montgomery, Jimmy Giles, Roosevelt Leaks, Russell Erickson, Sam Hunt, Randy Grossman, got Ted Fritsch. And this is going to be the NFL quarterback sack leaders. So they had, sacks, but they never really counted them for like a long time. Clark Gaines, Bruce Harper, and there's Ray Werstein. And now we got Cornell Webster. Got Larry McCarron, Craig Morton, Steve Wilson, got Monty Jackson, Jack Tatum, Steve Tao, Bob Avellini, Bill Linkaitis, Ken Anderson, Jeff Anote, Jerome Barkham. Should be, Max, my dog Max Barkham, Dan Neal, he probably didn't like that joke, Tom Banks, Jim Allen, Raphael Septien, and Tom DeLeon. Let's see here. So now this is like 1982. I think Ronnie Lott, Lawrence Taylor, those are going to be the big ones in this one. And one of the things I was going to point out, like you can see, like the logos, and like Ken Anderson, it just says Bengals, like that thing there. There's Ray Werstein, Niners and just no, like there's a Jets with like a helmet, no decal on there. There's that one where, like, say, the Baltimore Colts and Minnesota Vikings. Tops didn't really, for most part, there's the Bills. It might have been a Dolphin at one time. Trade with Rams. But yeah, Tops, for most of the 70s, they did not have a, license for team names or team logos. And, they probably had figured out, well, they got a monopoly on these cards. Because pretty much since 1966, because there was a Philadelphia set that they would do the NFL teams, and then the Tops in the early 60s would do the AFL teams, American Football League Conference. And so then probably, I'm thinking, after a while they kind of thought, okay, well, we're getting some competition from Fleer, Donruss, and eventually they would have a set for another football set besides Tops, and that was like 1989 Score, I think was the first one. So yeah, that's kind of a little history there. Greg Bingham, John Harris, got Joe DeLeon, Joe Montano. Well, that's a nice card. All Pro. That's his second year, because 1981 is his first year. Maybe I'll put these over here now. Got Nolan Cromwell, Tony Collins, EJ Jr., Ray Worthing. And like I say, there's 2 years. You see a helmet with the logo. Bernard Wilson, there's Brian Sight, Ron Yeri, Darrell Ray, and you see the Jets on that one, whereas the 1981, there's nothing there. Russell Erlichsman, Dave Preston, Chris Collinsworth, from the Sunday Night Football in America, James Brooks, Ed White, and there's Ken Burrow, who had a pretty good career with the Oilers. Okay, so we got Jen Sensor, Greg Buttle, Gary Barbaro, Bill Kinney, Craig Morden, and I'll show you that. Remy Sorey, Mel Gray. Here's Billy Sims. That's a pretty good card. Mike Haynes, John Hanna in action with the Patriots somewhat old, the red and blue. John Bunting. So I got another John Bunting. Greg Pruitt, Steve Fuller, Harold Carmichael, Earl Cooper, Lynn Dickey, William Andrews, and Mark Mullany. Yeah, so these defensive ends. So they didn't, for most of the defensive linemen, they didn't really do too many things about sacks or just kind of linebackers. Maybe it was just interceptions. That's all that they would put on the back of the cards for stats for defensive players was that. And then probably about mid '80s. That'd be another thing to see when they started doing that. And there's Jack Lambert, All Pro. Couple All Pros there, and Hall of Famers. And there's Ricky Young. There's Rick Parios. Dan Fouts in action. There's the Colts team leaders. Yeah, so you say, like that one, there's no horseshoe. The Lions team leaders. Lynn Dickey in action. Mike Reinfeldt. Don Good. Sherman Smith. And there's the Buccaneers team leaders. So they do kind of do sacks there, but not on a player's team or, back of their card. Jack Reynolds, here's a Niners instead of a Rams. Spent most of the years as a Ram and then maybe a couple years as a 49er. Right. So 81, so he probably got a ring from them. Steve Bartkowski, a little bit there. Perry Brooks, got Steve Nelson, got Oilers team leaders, and there you got Pat Hayden. So let's see, where was the one I was looking for? Like, just kind of another thing about like what they did and didn't do for. I know it's not Craig Morton. Yeah, so there's Craig Morton, 1980. And there's a Craig Morton, 1982, with, like, say, the Denver Bronco logo. In 1980, without a logo. So that's something that they did, and blah blah blah. So the Major League Baseball, they always did the logos, and eventually they figured they'd have some competition. I mean, there was always like trying to, like, okay, well, you can't have like produce cards with a stick of gum, and so others decided that, hey, there's a way to get around that one. Anyhow, so there's that. All Pro Joe Montana's second year. And then you got Jack Lambert. And sometimes there's some good there's a cardboardconnection.com. And that's pretty good information for most of the sets. Sometimes they're a little bit light on stuff, like the 1979 Topps NFL set. Anyhow, I'll talk to you later.